Welcome back, everyone. It's your boy Anthony
and Gooch,
and we're here to break down the finale of The Last of Us. Look for the light,
aka the last of The Last of Us.
Bam! So we've been dealing with this ending for over a decade. We've lived with the knowledge of how it goes down. And now you guys as a TV audience got to experience it. So we open up with a new scene for gamers. This scene is in the comic, American Dreams. So you get the little backstory of Ellie's mom. I think her name is Anna in the show.
That's a little bit of content that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah. So there's a comic. I think they had a couple issues called American Dreams, and they do a little bit of backstory, with Riley, a little bit of backstory with Ellie's mom. Really good read, man. You should check them out. One of the best Easter eggs in the show so far, Anna, Ellie's mom, is played by Ashley Johnson, who originated the role of Ellie in the video games.
So you could say she birthed Ellie in the original game and now actually births Ellie in the show. It's
pretty deep, you know what I mean? And I love that Neil brought all those main actors back. Troy got a part, Ashley got a part, and it didn't feel forced. They played a really good role in the TV series. Everybody did such a good job. I loved the oh shit that we open up with Anna, because she's getting chased by an infected. She's pregnant, obviously, with Ellie. And in that moment, you hear that oh shit, it's Ellie's voice. You know what I mean? You could tell where she gets her natural potty mouth. You could see she inherited that from mom. And also kind of her spunkiness. Even though you don't sit with Anna, the mom, too long, you could tell she's got a lot of heart, obviously. I mean, she's pregnant, she's fighting this infected, she gives birth during the fight, doesn't even really realize that she gave birth. That's how intense the fight was. And then you get to see kind of how Ellie becomes who she is. So mom got bit as the baby was still a part of her. Once she realizes that she is bit, she cuts the umbilical cord immediately. But it's not like they weren't connected. And it kind of reminds me of Blade. So Ellie's like a daywalker. You know what I mean? The same kind of backstory with Blade. Blade's mom gets bit while she's giving birth. And boom, he becomes a daywalker vampire. Boom, Ellie has this immunity.
Yeah, kind of like with viruses. When you get a vaccination, you're getting a small load of the virus, right? You get a small viral load. So I took it as that just enough of that virus was able to get through the umbilical cord just to touch Ellie's body and set it off, but not let the infection fully take hold. You know, I believed it the way they set it up
that
there.
That natural immunity.
Yeah, like she just got a little taste, and it got into her body, but it wasn't enough to truly infect her.
Which makes you also realize that Ellie probably is the only person, unless this happened to some people across the world in that similar kind of a way.
Right at the moment of birth.
So the odds are pretty small.
Really
it's most likely that Ellie's the only one that has this immunity. And then we get to see the knife. Anna uses the same knife that Ellie ends up with, which shows you throughout the series why Ellie found it so special. It's her one connection to her mom.
And like you said, I love that we... just from the short time that we get to sit with the mom, that we get to see kind of where Ellie got her spunkiness from, you know? She looks at the baby first thing and holds it up, and she's like, yeah, you fucking tell him, Ellie. The baby's crying, and you fucking tell him.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, oh my God. Yeah. She cursed at the infant.
And she remembered, apparently, because she definitely carries on with this potty mouth or whatever, which really, humanizes everybody. Yeah. I think when you start, throwing in profanities here and there, it makes you more relatable. At least it does. For me personally. So then you get to see Marlene come up the stairs. And another thing I liked in that moment is Anna is singing a song to Ellie. And what she's singing is a song, it's an AHA song, Worship the TV or something like that, or which is, very poignant. One, you see Ellie with a tape from that same group. So it's another kind of connection, a little kind of touch right there, which kind of rounds out the whole series. So Marlene comes up, she sees she has the baby. She also notices that she's bit. Anna insists that she cut the umbilical cord before she was bit. I think Marlene kind of
No,
she might be lying. Yeah. But she's kind of taking the risk there. That's her best friend. They apparently grew up together. She lets her know, please take my baby, take care of her.
And that's kind of an easy risk to take, right? Because what if the infant turns? It's an infant.
It's not really going to do much,
right.
You know what I mean? Which would be kind of crazy to see, like a baby infected. I wonder if we'll ever get a look at it, like a younger person, other than like that little girl in the car with Ellie at that one moment.
Right. But I'm sure Marlene is watching that infant for that first couple days,
100%.
like nonstop.
Like, yeah. You know? So Marlene kind of always knew Ellie was special. You know, even throughout her not getting infected, she knows there's something going on there that might make her stand out from everybody else. So Marlene takes the kid, and Anna's like, you know, kill me, you know, and Marlene at first is like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? We'll think of something else to do. So then Marlene takes the kid, brings her out to the hall, and then kind of gets the, kind of understands the situation a little bit better.
And Anna reveals in that moment that they've been best friends their whole life. She's like, you've known me my whole life. Like, you can't let me go out like this.
Yeah, don't let me turn, please.
Let me turn, yeah.
And then, you know, Marlene, you know, gathers a little bit of courage, a little strength to do what she needs to do. And then it just, you know, all you do is see her walk back in the room and you just hear the sound and you kind of know what happens. So then we cut to Joel and Ellie continuing their journey. Ellie and Joel have flipped roles. Joel's chit-chatty, man. He's talking about the Chef Boyardee. He's asking Ellie how she's doing. And Ellie's just kind of somber. She's just been through a super traumatic experience, and it's definitely kind of lingering in her mind.
Traumatized for sure. I was so impressed with Bella's performance through this whole section. Because you can see the shock on her face. Her eyes are kind of wide, and like she's just kind of staring into nothing. Like Joel keeps talking to her. He keeps like, "Hello, Ellie." Like, "Hey, here, grab this thing," you know. And she's like, "Huh? What?"
He's like, I got some Chef Boyardee. You want to play Boggle? You know what I'm saying? Like Joel's on a whole. Joel's back. You know what I'm saying? He's feeling good. He feels connected with this girl,
and he knows that she's traumatized, and
he's trying to help. He's trying to bring her back,
out of it.
Trying to bring her spirits back up.
It is funny to see the flip.
And you see a moment also where Joel hands Ellie a gun, like, and all those kind of walls that he's built up are obviously gone. He trusts Ellie now. Ellie is like his person to protect. That's his purpose now. And, you know, I feel like Joel feels good about it, but he's trying to bring Ellie out of this funk. So we continue on the journey, and then for gamers, we come across a really one of the most beautiful moments from the game. We get to see Ellie come through a clearing, and there's a giraffe there kind of eating some leaves off of a tree. And it's a beautiful, like, calm moment. The thing that I feel like they kind of missed on, and what we've kind of been discussing, is we wish the back half of the series had a little bit more infected involved in it. I think the only 2 infected we get to see at that second half of the series both come in flashbacks. Right. We see the clicker in the mall with Riley and Ellie, and then we see obviously the infected that attacks Anna, Ellie's mom. But throughout the rest of the time, in the current timeline, you don't really see infected very much in that second half, which I think they kind of miss, because in the game, that moment when you come across the giraffes, it's like a breath of fresh air. You come through so much. You actually come out of one of the biggest fights in the game, one of the toughest areas, to this beautiful moment.
With lots of infected.
Yeah, lots of infected, bloaters, the whole 9. And in that moment, I think we were discussing it, when I played the game for the first time, you can't help but like tear up, because it's so beautiful. This is the one moment of like connection and rest and beauty that you get to see after coming out through these tunnels and fighting all these infected and going through what you've gone through with Joel and Ellie. It was impactful, because you know that Ellie's going through what she's going through, but I think it would have hit a little bit harder if we would have got a big fight in that moment.
Yeah, we both agreed on that, you know, the series is great, but if we had one thing to say that would be a knock on this, it was, a little bit more danger. A couple more infected clicker scenes, just scenes of watching them survive. Because it does, man, the action in the game just ramps you up. And like you said, you feel all this tension and anxiety that when a moment comes like that, it's like, wow, oh, this is beautiful. I teared up at that moment in the game as well. I mean, it is really beautiful. You see all kind of the beauty of nature that's taken over the city. Everything's all grown over and green and grassy, and here are these giraffes in the middle of a city.
Some life amongst all the death and destruction, you know?
Yeah.
And then we get Ellie and Joel walking through the city.
Joel actually, brings her back to reality and reveals to her, that he said earlier in the series, he tells her that, he has that scar on his head. And he's like, yeah, it's just some guy missed. He reveals that the guy who missed was him. So after Sarah was taken from him, Joel tried to kill himself.
Yeah.
But he just couldn't go through with it. He tells her the story that he had the gun there and he pulled the trigger, but he just naturally flinched.
Yeah.
And moved away. So the bullet just grazed him. He couldn't kill himself.
Yeah. Another touch too of like Joel failing. Like he failed his daughter. He couldn't even succeed at killing himself. So it puts a lot more weight onto this feeling of like Joel needing a purpose and finding something to live for, which is what Ellie has become at that moment.
And then Ellie also then reveals to him that, she said, I told you earlier that I had to kill somebody before. And she finally tells him about Riley, about how they were first captured together and the infected got him, and so now we know that she had to kill Riley.
Yeah, which we don't see in the series. They just kind of cut, and then they kind of leave it up to you. But then finally Ellie exposes that, once Riley turned, she had to kill her best friend, or the person she kind of loved at that moment.
She loved, right, yeah.
So, really cool development of their characters. I don't think we hear about Joel trying to kill himself in the game. I feel like that's something they really just added for the show.
Yeah.
So a really cool touch, really cool detail, just digging deep into the characters, which is obviously what they wanted to do with this series as a whole, which is why I think we didn't have too many infected in the back half. Craig is obviously very character driven. He's a great writer, Craig Mazin. Also, another cool fact, Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann is the first episode where they both get the writing credit for the episode. So just really cool. And Ellie pulls out a couple more jokes. And in this moment of lightheartedness, I think you get the beat back to reality, You start to see these guys pop up in the background. They toss a flashbang to Joel and Ellie. Boom. We cut to, Joel in the hospital now. So those people were Fireflies. Joel wakes up. Marlene is in his room. Immediately, Joel is like, where's Ellie? What's going on? And then Marlene starts letting him know, we're prepping her for surgery. We're going to get the cure from her. And then she's like, we got to get the cordyceps out of her. And then Joel's like, cordyceps grow in the brain. Like, y'all are going to kill Ellie. So he realizes what's going on. Obviously, Ellie is Joel's purpose. So Joel's going to go get Ellie. So they try to take Joel away. A couple guards are walking him down the stairs. And Joel makes the decision. He says, I'm going to get Ellie. So he takes these two guys out. And then the scene straight out of the game, he's like, where is she? To one of the guys, and he decides not to tell him. In the game, they kind of tell him, and he just takes him out. He realizes where he needs to go.
Said, I don't have time for this.
Yeah, I don't have time for this. Boom, takes him out, takes his gun, and then Joel goes on his rampage. One thing that I do like that was different from the game, obviously in the game, you're Joel. You're living in that moment. It's very visceral. In the show, it's quiet. You're like in Joel's head as opposed to playing as Joel. It's quiet. Joel's just taking care of business. He's calm. He's not worried about these guys. There's a moment where he comes around the corner, pops a couple people, sits back, is reloading, super calm. The guys are coming through. You can see him in the background. And then boom, Joel keeps taking care of business, which I thought was really cool.
It's very well shot. It's shot in a constructive style.
Yeah, the sound design was cool.
You see him taking his steps, pulling the gun. I mean, he's
Joel's
focused.
He's good at what he does, too.
He is focused. Yeah. And which is why I think, we never really talked about seeing them kill more hunters or rebels throughout the game. Because, and I think this has a good purpose here. Because if we'd seen him kill a lot more humans, this wouldn't be as powerful. Because this is like, I was really shocked watching this. Like, whoa, Joel is a killing machine right now. He will not be stopped in trying to save Ellie.
Joel gets to the pediatric center. He knows that she's getting prepped for surgery. You can kind of see the lights down the hallway. He enters into the surgical room, and in that moment, you don't know what's going on with Ellie. Have they started the surgery? Thank goodness for Joel in that moment. She's still getting prepped for surgery. So he pops in. There's a couple nurses and a doctor.
It looks just like the game.
Just like the game. And in the game, you kind of don't want to kill anybody in that room. You just want to take Ellie and get out of there.
We both talked about
that.
that.
But it forces you to take out the doctor, which will play out later on in the story. Obviously, you could tell that doctor, obviously was important. The way they kind of linger on him in the shot after he gets killed lets you know there might be a little bit more to that, and I think all that is going to get fleshed out in the next season, which we're really, really excited for.
Exactly.
Also, one of the nurses in that scene played a character in the second game. Her name is Abby. So there's a lot of connectivity to the game, to the people that made the game, and the people that brought these characters to life. So Joel takes out the doctor. He grabs Ellie. And he starts heading out of the hospital. And next scene we get is Joel in the parking garage. He's holding Ellie just like he was holding Sarah in that moment. And then Marlene approaches him and tries to talk him out of that moment. Tries to give him like the logic, like, bud, she can save the human race. Yeah, she's the key to saving the human race, man. Like, don't be selfish in this moment. Do the right thing. Joel's right thing in his mind is to save Ellie. He's not gonna fail this girl again.
We see a shot of Joel driving, so we don't know right away what's happened. Did he leave her? Did he take her? Then you hear something in the back seat. The camera pans over. You see Ellie's laying in the back. She wakes up. She's like, "What happened?" And he just immediately lies to her.
So the hospital got attacked by raiders. He's like, there's dozens of you.
Turns out there's dozens of people.
Yeah, they've been trying this multiple times.
Yeah.
But they can't figure out how to do the cure. So he's just building this kind of story. And then Ellie takes that information. And I don't know if in that moment she feels like he's lying or if she's just disappointed. Because she felt like she has this purpose and apparently it's not going to work. You know what I mean? And then we do get cut back to what actually happened. Marlene is trying to save Ellie and bring her back to the hospital, and Joel, shoots her. And then he goes to this car that's plugged in with a battery, unhooks it, and then realizes that Marlene's still alive. And then in a moment straight out of the game, he comes and finishes her. And he says one of the best lines. He's like, you just come after her.
Just come after her anyway.
Yeah. So he takes Marlene out, which is, super intense. I mean, one of the main characters, she was a big part of everything, which sets things into motion for the continuation of the story, which is going to be pretty awesome for everybody to get to experience. Obviously, Joel and Ellie are heading back to Wyoming. They're going to go live at the settlement with Tommy. They're walking through the woods. Joel, again, is talking. He's actually talking about Sarah, which I think was really cathartic and really cool because you see that Joel is coming out of his weird, panic attacks, worrying about stuff, like really, really mentally unstable. And now he's able to talk about his daughter freely. He's comparing Sarah with Ellie. He's like, oh, she was taller. She had such a good smile. Y'all would have got along so well.
He talks about how they would be good friends. He thinks he's like, you guys would love each other.
He's like, and he also says, you two are similar in a lot of ways, but you're very different. Which, we kind of established throughout the whole show of how Ellie loved the violence. Sarah was so taken aback by it.
This whole time while he's telling her all this stuff about Sarah, you can tell she's distracted again. And we know she's just thinking this whole time, like, was this real? And eventually she stops him. She's like, hold on, man. You've got to tell me straight up, point blank, is everything you told me about the Fireflies and what happened at that hospital true?
Promise me.
Promise me.
Yeah, promise me that everything you said
and without
is true.
Skipping a beat, Joel tells her,
I promise.
Yeah, no, I promise.
Yeah.
Man.
And then that's it. And then they cut to black and then, end of season 1, which is very similar to just like the game. You know what I'm saying? Ends. And you got to, as an audience, you sit there with Joel's decision. Did he make the right decision? Would you have saved Ellie, or would you have chosen to save the world? Bella Ramsey was saying, the season finale is going to be very polarizing. And to us gamers, I was like, are they going to divert? Are they going to do something a little bit different? No. The ending as is polarizing enough. And I think you'll see as the days progress, as people settle in, finally get to watch the finale, and you see the little discord online, you'll see kind of the same discord that we had whenever the first game ended. you know, there's 50% of people that think Joel was right, and the other half think that Joel should have left Ellie and had her save the world.
But no matter what you think, as far as a decision, whether you would do what Joel did or not, I think everyone understands why he did what he's doing. And it's for love. And so you really get to see how this series kind of wraps up the idea of love. That can be a great thing or an evil thing. You know, love can cause you to do a lot of bad and a lot of harm too. Like, I mean, this is the most selfish thing Joel could ever do.
So did love cause Joel to doom the rest of the world?
The whole rest of the world, just because he doesn't want to lose Ellie now. And started from a place where he was like, "Your cargo."
Yeah, exactly, man. And look at the arc we've got to. Now Ellie's Joel's daughter, man. No doubt about it.
Now he killed the whole rest of the world to save this one
Absolutely.
person. So
absolutely.
Yeah, so no matter what you feel, whether you would do what he did or not, you know, I didn't come out of this. When I played the game, at that moment, my jaw dropped to the ground. I was like, wow, I can't believe he made that decision. That's incredible. So bold. Yep. But I wasn't mad at him because I understood why he was doing what he was doing. And it really makes you think about the duality of love, you know.
And I think, you know, some of the points are like, you know, nobody gave Ellie a choice, though. I think at the bottom line, Marlene was messed up in a way, and Joel's messed up in a way. You know, I think they were both afraid to hear what Ellie's answer would have been. One for Joel, if she would have been like, yeah, of course I want to die. Or for Marlene, she would have been like, nah, I don't want to risk this. Because how do you know they could succeed? Like, they could have killed Ellie. He could have processed the cordyceps, and it doesn't work. And then she died for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we'll never know, obviously, at this point. Things will develop in the next season. So we're excited to see, obviously, where it goes, to continue the quality of this series. I mean, I think if you didn't play the games and you just saw the series, you got to be hooked on this story, man. And it is worth being hooked because the continuation, as far as what we know as gamers for the second game, it's incredible. So the theme of the first game is love. The theme of the second game is hate. So really cool duality there and a really interesting way of telling a story. Overall, as a series, I think we agreed it was fantastic. Writing was fantastic. Character development was fantastic. I think everybody just wished we would have had a little bit more action, a little bit more infected, because a lot of those moments of quietness, a lot of those moments of beauty are enhanced by all the violence and the chaos that usually happens right before that. But we don't get too much of that. It's very internalized, it's very character driven, which is great, and I get it, especially having Craig Mazin as one of the main writers. He's a character writer, man, and obviously is amazing at his job, especially with, you know, Frank and Bill, like expanding on that story. Ellie and Riley, you know, expanding on that a little bit. Ellie's mom, expanding on that a little bit. That brought so much meat and so much good content.
David the preacher and his cult.
Yeah, the cult change, those little changes, everything was so
all
welcome.
of the choices dramatically that they made really enhanced the drama of the story.
Yeah, so overall, I mean, the series is great. We cannot wait for season 2. What was your favorite part in the season? What episode was your favorite? What made your jaw hit the floor? Was it the ending? Do you think Joel was right? I mean, do you think Joel made the right decision, or should he have left Ellie and had her potentially save the world? Thanks for joining us on this journey of us kind of breaking down The Last of Us, guys. If you made it to this part of the video, we appreciate it, man, to be honest with you. We're going to continue to bring you guys great content. We're going to break down movies. We got some video games in the line, and then obviously some other TV shows. So be on the lookout for us. Thanks for tuning in week after week. We appreciate you guys watching these videos. Truly, truly, truly. That's The Last of Us, buddy. Season 1. What a journey. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Gooch.
Thanks for watching, y'all. We'll see you on the next one.